Mara Jade was the Emperor's Hand, a young covert operative trained to hunt corruption and enemies of the Empire with precision and deniability. In Legends, her path would one day cross Luke Skywalker's so profoundly that she would eventually become his ally, his equal, and ultimately his wife. But just after the first Death Star's fall, she was still Palpatine's shadow, undertaking the earliest on-page mission we know about, the Shelsha sector case that first revealed how sharp, relentless, and independent she was. The Emperor's Hand entered the throne room and knelt, face calm but ready for any order. The Emperor's presence filled the space like a held breath. He did not lecture. He gave her pieces, a Moff's bright reports, missing valuables, bold pirates, bending officers. "Find the truth," he said. "Correct it." "It will be done, my lord," she answered. She had been trained since childhood for missions like this one. The Emperor's Hand moved when called and was gone when finished. She adopted a title that opened doors, Countess Claria. With that disguise, she moved through receptions, gathered names, and watched people. At Moff Glovstoak's party, she slipped from talk to silence, slid into his office, and read what he thought was hidden. Embezzlement ran through his books, but several high-value artworks were missing from his collection and were possibly being used to fund further criminal activities in Shelsha sector. She did not confront Glovstoak. She sent the proof to the Emperor through secure channels and left the party as quietly as she had arrived. Removal would come from above. Her job was to follow the money outward, track the artworks, and find the hands moving them through the sector. Mara's surveillance of the auction house that was handling Glovstoak's illicit artworks led to her stowing away on a pirate ship. When the ship attacked the civilian freighter Happer's Way, she emerged from hiding and subdued the pirates. Since the freighter was carrying out a military contract, transporting ATST scout walkers to an Imperial base, she asked the ship's captain to patch her through to the nearest Imperial Navy presence, which happened to be the Reprisal, a star destroyer. Using her override code as Emperor's Hand, she ordered the Reprisal to divert from its current mission, pick her up, and assist her in locating the pirate's base. Captain Kendall Ozzel and Colonel Someril granted her permission to board, but assumed her mission was related to a recent group of Stormtrooper deserters and a stolen transport. They were worried of the consequences for them if this information were to become public. Mara appropriated 2 Imperial Stormtroopers from the Reprisal to act as her assistants. What she didn't know is that the 2 troopers were ISB agents, with orders from Ozzel and Someril to ensure that she didn't contact Imperial Center with anything she had learned, until Ozzel and Someril could find a way to quietly dispose of her. With her new crew, Mara took the Happer's Way to Gepperin. Once in the pirate base, the 2 troopers betrayed Mara and caused the whole base to attack her. As Mara fought her way through the base, Captain Ozzel maneuvered the Reprisal into position and began bombarding the base, fully aware Mara was still inside. The assault served a dual purpose, wiping out pirates and conveniently silencing a dangerous witness. Turbolasers stitched the night. Impacts shook the deck. Ceiling plates fell in sheets. She ran, timing sprints to the rhythm of the guns. Beam after beam crashed, but Mara slid through them as they slammed down. Heat clawed at her back as the corridor turned to dust and light. Outside, the sky burned green. The Reprisal cut the base apart with steady fire. Wind blew violently on her and the ground shook. She took cover. When the guns fell silent, the base was ruin. Survival, she told herself, only meant the mission was not over yet. She sent the base's coordinates to Imperial channels, saved the surviving manifests, and left the ruins. The Emperor's Hand took a pirate ship to journey to Shelkanwa after seeing a transmission from the pirate base to the governor's office there. In transit across the Shelsha sector, refueling at way stations and pulling feeds from her shuttle, rumors trailed her. Civilians whispered about stormtroopers who showed up without orders, helped, and vanished. They called themselves the Hand of Judgement. She set that beside another pattern: rebel agents working the sector and plotting the Empire's demise. As she made her way to Shelkanwa, she opened a channel to the Superstar Destroyer Executor. Darth Vader answered. She explained her mission, a traitor in high office with criminal ties, and her authority to act. Vader acknowledged, offering neither help nor hindrance. The link closed. On the planet's surface, the pirate Caldra piloted an AT-ST and went after Mara. Blaster bolts tore banners. The guns raked facades and made corners lethal. Mara took side routes, alleys, loading docks, service halls, aiming for the source. Skill could not outpace tonnage. The walkers slewed, the air went white, and survival came down to instinct, cover, and timing. She kept moving. Then came white armor in the smoke. 5 stormtroopers, scarred helmets, clean movements, advanced like veterans ready to improvise. She used them. Orders were few. They obeyed. Together they tricked Caldra into maneuvering the AT-ST through a very tight area and got it stuck. Then they were able to take it down. She proceeded to take on the real culprit, Governor Barshanis Chord. With the 5 troopers at her back, she moved through the governor's palace and laid proof that turned his authority into liability. On her orders, the governor was arrested. She took custody and delivered him to the Empire to answer for treason. When the streets were quiet, she met the 5 troopers again. Mara learned the story of the 5 deserters who had called themselves the Hand of Judgement and pardoned them on one condition: end the vigilante work that angered admirals and risked more chaos. They accepted, so she let them go without ceremony. The goal was order, not applause. After Shelkanwa, she returned to the Emperor. The throne room was still. She reported what could enter the record. Glovstoak compromised. The Shelsha sector mapped. The Jepperan pirate base destroyed by the Star Destroyer reprisal after her override. The stolen art trail confirmed back to Glovstoak. The traitor Governor Chord removed. The pirates broken. Palpatine answered with a slight nod and one word: efficient. The sound settled in her chest. That night in her room, she thought of her actions throughout this mission, of the corruption that filled the Empire, and of pirates whose names would not outlast soot. She thought of 5 troopers who remembered duty. At dawn, a new summons arrived. Another task waited, another set of fragments needing patience and a clean edge. Mara walked familiar corridors that opened for her. She knelt, rose, received orders, and turned. She went to fulfill her next mission without looking back. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to this channel. We will continue Mara Jade's story very soon. We post weekly videos with original stories, as well as lore from established sci-fi and fantasy franchises. Thank you.